Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Danny. We have just seen Johnny Fisher dismantle, destroy, whatever word you want to use. Alan Babic inside, what was that, 30 seconds, I'm going to say, Danny. Not a lot to unpack here, not a lot to kind of analyze, but what do you make of what we've just seen, Danny?
I mean, as you say, for such a short fight, we're going to do well to flesh out an 8 minute video out of this. I think it was more of, and I don't want to like discredit Johnny Fisher. You can only sort of beat what's in front of you, but I think we learned a lot more about Alan Babic than we did Johnny Fisher tonight. I think the vast majority of people, whilst this was being billed as a step up for Johnny Fisher, I didn't see anyone predicting anything other than Johnny Fisher stoppage. So I was always skeptical as to how much of a step up this really was, despite being a main event fight and the highest profile fight of his career. And yeah, it's what I thought would happen. Maybe not 30 seconds, but I struggled to see Babic getting out of, the first three rounds, and obviously it went a lot quicker than even that.
Yeah, and look, that's what a lot of people were. Feels like the majority of people were saying throughout the week. Johnny Fisher within 3 rounds, and it was Johnny Fisher within 30 seconds. So it was
Yeah.
yeah. I think Babic. Look, the guy at the end of the day, the guy's not a heavyweight, and he never will be. He's just not big. I
No.
think it was 216 pounds he came in, weighed in yesterday. So I just think for me, the Bridgerweight division's perfect for him. But I also think the way he fights, you're only going to get up to a certain level. And like we've seen it twice now, he has been stopped in the first round twice, and
Yeah.
and badly as well. I'll go back to Johnny Fisher, Danny. I know you've said we've not learned too much about him, and I agree with that, but undefeated, big heavyweight, still very young, 24, 25 years old,
Yeah.
can clearly punch, which you would expect from a heavyweight of that size. How far, we're not going to go over the top and start saying he's going to do this and do that, but I'm excited. I am excited by him. I think he's an exciting fighter, and I want to know. I want to get your opinion on how far you think he can go.
Yeah, as you touched on there, he's I think it was the Harry Armstrong fight where people sort of changed their tune on Johnny Fisher. He showed a lot in that fight. Um Again, it's easy to go over the top. He's got all the attributes to win a British heavyweight title, depending on the who the champion is at the time, and maybe potentially even go on that. He's with a good trainer in Mark Tibbs. He's clearly improving. Still a lot of questions to be answered. Going the rounds at a decent pace against a decent heavyweight we haven't really seen. His chin hasn't really been checked properly by a heavyweight of any sort of level. So there's that. But as you say, reason to get excited. And I think with the lack of sort of up and coming ticket sellers, not even just in the heavyweight division, but in British boxing as a whole, he's certainly up there with the most exciting sort of prospects at the minute, if you want to even call him a prospect.
Yeah, and that was one thing I did want to ask you about as well, Danny. You, you've said the words ticket seller there, and I feel like Johnny Fisher, he's moved a bit slowly. He's been a pro for a little while now. He's still a young heavyweight, but he's not a baby anymore.
Yeah.
Um, do you really think we're going to see him step up and face and maybe and fight for a British title in the next 12 months and fight somebody like a Solomon Dakers or a David Adelaide? Do you see that sort of fight happening anytime soon?
No chance. Absolutely no chance. Like, that's the best possible result for Johnny Fisher, Eddie Hearn, anyone involved in Johnny Fisher. That was what that was supposed to be. That wasn't a fight for Johnny to get rounds in. That was supposed to be a name, top of the bill fight that he could go in and chin him. So it's job done. And they're not going to undo that great bit of matchmaking by throwing him in with a Saul Akers or a David Adley, which both of them, while like you would say they're solid British level heavyweights, like provide a light years tougher test than Alan Babic did tonight. So I think there'll be a bit of treading water for a while. It'll be interesting to see how many tickets he does for his next fight. It'll be interesting to see whether they keep him as a main eventer now. Obviously, it depends on the shows, but by word, what Eddie Hearn was saying, they've done 3,000 tickets for him tonight, which during the Euros and England game on, it's a pretty good shift. So I think they'll be expecting to do five, six, seven potentially. He's a big star. Obviously, his dad being massive on TikTok helps, and massive in other ways you could say too. But yeah, I don't think there'll be a Saul Deckers, David Adelaide anytime soon. No.
No, I tend to agree with you, and yeah, I think look, he's not necessarily going to fight kind of he's not going to go back to fighting the level he has been fighting a couple of years ago, but I just think in terms of him facing a genuine kind of British level fighter, I don't think it's going to happen. And I think look, there's I'm trying to kind of before we started speaking, I had a little kind of scran through BoxRec, and I wonder if we might get like some sort of domestic fight happening, which has some interest in, but I'm not sure one's there. There's obviously the likes of Cash Ali floating around. I'm not sure anyone wants to see that fight. Nathan Gorman's another name.
Mm,
Does that appeal? Would that appeal to you?
I mean, appeal is strong. I wouldn't hate the fight. I think Gorman would make it. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything saying he would make a better fist of it than Alan Babbitt did tonight. But I think Gorman's technically a good boxer. He would give Fisher stuff to think about. Doesn't seem to have that much desire left in the world. Cash Alley, I think I like that fight. That Cash Alley would come, he would sell it. He'd be the pantomime villain. Showed a bit against Joe Joyce, hung in there basically till the end. I'm on board for it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, well, there's not much to analyze in the fight, and we've kind of gone through pretty much every question I could ask. So we'll leave it there, Danny, before it gets much later. Danny,
Next
thank you
round,
very.
Babbitt.
Yeah, we'll touch on Alan Bab. I mean, what do you think? I think tell me what you think he's going to do next, and what weight you think he's going to go in next. Do you think he's going to kind of continue to campaign at heavyweight, or do you think he'll maybe be a bit more sensible? What do you see happening?
Just be wherever he gets paid, won't it? I mean, and the bigger paydays are going to come with heavyweight. I worry for Alan Babbitt. Like, he doesn't have the chin to fight the way he fights. And I didn't even realize until this week he was actually a very good amateur, and apparently in his amateur fights was like quite a cute boxer. So I don't know what's happened to him as a professional. Like, as you touched on, that's too bad early knockouts. And the thing is, he's not going to get fights as an A side against people he should beat. So I could just see him getting, if he stays at heavyweights and fighting for money, just getting chinned repeatedly.
Yeah, yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think tonight was Alan Babbich's 14th fight, and the way things are, I'm not sure he's going to have too many more. Like I'm sure he will fight again, but I can't see him still fighting in 3 4 years. To be honest, the way he is fighting, and then it just does feel like whenever there is that step up against someone who can punch, it's just probably going to happen again. He'll probably just get stopped. It might not be in the first round, but it'll be maybe in the second or third round. So yeah, we'll see. Look, he's an entertaining character. He's an entertaining fighter. I just think now we've seen the kind of the. I just think it's a fairly easy puzzle to solve if you're trying
Yeah,
to beat Alan Babbage now. It's not quite the Matrix. So we'll leave it at that. Danny, thank you for your time. Johnny Fisher has stopped Alan Babbage in the first minute of the first round, and we will see what he does next. Danny, thank you very much for your time. I'll speak to you again soon.
no worries, mate. Cheers.